Hello and welcome to the CSN3M Mindset Monday podcast. I'm Andrew Wade with Case Specific Nutrition. On this channel, we focus on the 3 M's, myth busting, mindsets, and mentoring, all as they pertain to health and nutrition. This podcast is brought to you by Case Specific Meal Prep, our very own in-house meal prep and delivery service. If you check out csmpgh.com, you can see our list of chef-inspired, dietitian-approved meals that we make fresh and deliver straight to your door every Sunday. Be sure to place your order by Thursdays at noon so that you're ready for the week ahead. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to make sure you take a moment and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Also, give this video a like and share with a friend or loved one. Pick your favorite social media and don't forget to hashtag spread the health so that you can do your part in helping us impact others' health and wellness journeys. Today's episode, we're going to be digging into the types of satisfaction. And I know that's kind of a confusing overall topic. Like, what does that mean? But there's a really, really important message behind this one, so I was really excited to dig in. So at base, we have 3 types of satisfaction. We have physical satisfaction, we have mental satisfaction, and we have emotional satisfaction. All 3 of those are really, really important, and I want to think about today how we have these pertain to food. And so when we're thinking about this, we want food to be emotionally satisfying, which means we want to enjoy it, right? We want that food to bring us happiness or bring us joy. We want that food to be mentally satisfying in the fact that it would give us energy. So it gives us that clear mind, that ability to do and take action in our day. And we want food to be physically satisfying. Physically satisfying means you feel full, right? It's the more traditional satisfied word that I think most of us think of. When we start to run through all 3 of these, what we see is that a lot of foods maybe only do 1 or maybe do 2 of them. So what I wanted to do is spend some time today offering this observation of food as satisfaction, extremely important, but how is your food satisfying you? And it's a really cool way to sort of do almost like a post-meal or post-snack check and ask yourself, how did this satisfy me? So for example, a lot of our traditional snack foods in the United States in particular, whether it be things like chips and Doritos and little dessert items, we can all agree that they taste really good, right? And so those foods tend to be emotionally satisfying, right? That chip hits the mouth, that crunch, that salt in the middle of a stressful work day, and it gives you that, life's good for a hot second, right? It gives you that joy. That's emotional satisfaction. Now, by a show of hands at home, right? How many of you have ever been physically satisfied by chips? Probably not unless you ate a family-sized bag of them, right? And if you did, you probably didn't feel very mentally satisfied in that you probably weren't ready to crack open your next project or start that list of 100 emails or start writing your next book. Chances are you probably felt pretty slow, pretty sluggish, pretty foggy. And so we can see where snack foods are an example of a thing where by themselves, they may give you that emotional satisfaction, but they don't necessarily give the physical satisfaction or that mental satisfaction. So let's go to something that's a little bit more like trendy and quote unquote healthy as our Instagram buzzwords like to say. What about like a salad, right? Salad is a food that most people would just say, yeah, that's healthy. So let's think about this. A salad, well, it's probably going to make you feel physically satisfied, right? At least in that moment. It's got a lot of fiber in it. It's pretty big in volume. So you're going to feel full from it. Mental satisfaction. Are you going to get energy from a salad? Oh, it depends on what's in the salad, right? I mean, just lettuce and some basic veggies on their own, they're not necessarily the energizing part of our diet. They don't contain a lot of carbohydrates that our body can use as fuel. There's not a ton of fats and those kind of things, which are what our body uses for energy. So you might not get that mental satisfaction. And then what about emotional satisfaction? I don't know about you, maybe you don't know this about dietitians, but we aren't people that like eat plain lettuce and feel really, really excited and joyful about it. So like I know me personally, I would not get emotional satisfaction from a salad. So here we go. We look at a food that a lot of people consider very healthy, and we see that it might give physical fullness, but it lacks in the emotional and the mental. We see foods like chips and snacks that a lot of us deem or call unhealthy that give us a lot of joy, but don't necessarily help us with that mental and don't help us with that physical. So we can see that typically singular foods might contribute to one of the types of satisfaction. So this raises the question, what's the secret? How do we get a food that gives me all three? And the reality is that's what food combining is. That's what a meal is. There's a difference between grabbing a quick snack that's meant to give you a boost of energy versus actually sitting down and having a meal that actually satisfies in all ways. And so let's go back to that salad. How do we make that more enjoyable? Well, there's a bunch of ways. One, we have the salad, we add a protein source to it, and that combo is going to definitely make it more physically satisfying because the protein physically satisfies. If it was a grilled piece of chicken or some sauteed tofu or a nice piece of blackened salmon, whatever type of protein you're into, that would add a little bit to the joy. So there'd be some more emotional satisfaction that would come from that. We're still lacking in that mental energy a little bit, and so that's where in salads I like to go for the crunchies. Whether that's a crouton, whether that's some chips actually, like with the salad, whether that's a torn up piece of pita or naan bread, whether that's some tortilla chips, or whether that's some of those little crispy onion straws or one of those types of things. We can end up having a salad that now has a hearty protein source, some good veggies in it, some crunchies on it, and now we have a salad that's really enjoyable, tastes good, has good texture and good balance, right? It gives you good mental energy because it has the carbohydrates and things that we need it to have. And then it gives us that physical energy, right, or satisfaction. It gives us that feeling of, oh man, I'm really contented by that. So once again, we can see where we took a meal and when we paired the right things together, we were able to create that trifecta, all types of satisfaction. And that's a meal you're gonna walk away from going, oh man, that was a really good way to start my day or interrupt my day or whatever it is. And what's neat is that's where when we look in our society where meals tend to be rushed and we tend to look for quick convenience things, food loses a lot of its joy and a lot of its purpose. But if we take a lunch and take a break and actually eat something that's truly enjoyable, right? That's gonna set us up to reduce our stress levels and then go back into our day feeling like we did something for ourselves. That's a true way to fuel your body, right? Some other good examples of that would be a breakfast, like an overnight oats, right? So you take some oatmeal, you mix it with your milk of choice. I like to put a little bit of protein powder in there just for a little extra fill. So for me, I might, for example, take a chocolate protein powder with oatmeal, put blueberries in it, and then put some cocoa dusted almonds in it and make this like chocolatey, blueberry flavored protein oatmeal. Wake up in the morning and eat that. That's going to give you those berries for that quick boost of mental energy. It's going to give you that oatmeal for that slow and sustained mental energy, as well as that physical satisfaction. And then who doesn't like chocolate, right? So the cocoa dusted almonds, the chocolate protein powder mixed with the blueberries, that's all going to create this flavor that's going to be really enjoyable. It's going to wake the brain up. It's going to wake the body up. So that's an example of a breakfast that checks all three boxes. And then what about snacks, right? So we said early on, something like your chips, they're good on the joy the joy rating, but they're lacking in the others. Well, what if we took something like a trail mix instead, where a trail mix might have some nuts and some dried fruit in it, and maybe even a little bit of some sort of chocolate of some kind, some little like salty, crunchy thing like those sesame sticks that are in a lot of trail mixes. Well, we can hear those flavors are definitely going to be enjoyable. We're not going to be sad about that. From an energy perspective, we're not necessarily going to feel like that's making us low energy or sluggish because our body can digest it really well. And then from a physical standpoint, the trail mix is higher in fiber and higher in protein and has some really good slow digesting fats. So you actually eat it and it actually sits, right? It stays with you a little while. It has some stay power to it. And that's an example of a snack that can check all of the boxes. Sometimes a snack might be something like taking those chips that you enjoy and having a piece of fruit with it, or having a yogurt with it, or having some cheese with it, right? Mixing and matching a couple snacks and almost creating like we'd call a little mini pile of one or two or even three things that we can sort of pick at and enjoy that gives us that taste, gives us that fill, but also sets it up so that we're not eating something that leaves us feeling lethargic and groggy for the rest of the afternoon. So there you have it. We are looking for the three types of satisfaction. And what I'd encourage you to do is after you eat a meal or after you eat a snack, run it through that thought process. How did this satisfy me? Wow, that really tasted good, but you know what? I'm feeling a little bit foggy and my mind's not feeling very clear and I'm not feeling very energetic. This wasn't a great mental. Or, man, I was hungry 30 seconds later. It's like, okay, well, this one really wasn't a great physical. Or the traditional diet culture, eat the celery as your snack, and then you go, man, I really did not enjoy that. I want to eat something else so that I can feel happiness, right? So whether it doesn't pass the physical, the mental, or the emotional, we want to run it through, and then we want to challenge ourselves to try and tweak and adjust our choices so that we can hit all three. And if you're able to hit all three at a breakfast, hit all three at a lunch, hit all three at a snack, and then hit all three at a dinner, what you're gonna find is that you genuinely enjoy your food starts to regulate itself, your energy levels and your appetite get more consistent, and you have yourself a pathway to your health and wellness. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'd like to thank you again for being a part of the CSN community. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to share today's episode using #SpreadTheHealth. For more case-specific nutrition content, you can check us out at Case Specific Nutrition on all social media, and you can check out our website, casespecificnutrition.com. We'll see you next week.